class. So before we jump into our next lesson, we are going to get moving with a little bit of an activity. So I want you to come up here and observe these two glasses and the contents that are in them. And once you've done that, I want you to sit back into your seats. And a flat tire goes shh. Very good. So I have a question, and I want you guys to go ahead and answer. What is in the two glasses?
Water and ice.
Very good. So what is happening to the ice as it sits in this glass?
It's melting.
It is melting. And can we make any other observations about the contents of the glasses? No? Okay. Well, one is water and you can drink it, and one is ice and you can eat it, you can hold it. And so for today's lesson, we are going to be learning about the three states of matter. But before we get started, I'm going to introduce some important keywords which will help you better understand. So the first keyword is matter, and it's everything around you. It's anything that has mass and takes up space. The chair you sit on, the pencil you write with, even the shoes on your feet. And the next keyword is particles or molecules. Small parts we cannot see with the eye that make up matter. A bunch of molecules are all close together, make up the chair you sit on. So particles or molecules make up matter. And the last keyword is state. Florida is a state. However, in this lesson, when we are talking about state, it is a condition or stage of matter. Another word for that is phase. So the three states of matter are solid, liquid, and gas. We're going to start with solid, and that has shape. So it takes up space, and it is something that is definite. It is the computer, it's the desk, it takes up space, and you can see it, you can feel it, and it doesn't really change ever. The liquid has no shape, it takes up space, and it forms in the shape of its container. And then there's gas. There's no shape, doesn't take up space, and you can't always see it. So, for instance, with gas, car exhaust. Whenever you're at the gas station and you smell the smell of gas, that's what it is. It's in the air, but you can't really see it. For liquid, the water, it goes into different containers. So like the glass that's in, it's taking the shape of the container. Or if you're in the pool, it takes the shape of the pool. Or even in the bathtub. No matter what the liquid is in, that's the shape it's taking. And for a solid, it just has that definite shape that we talked about. It doesn't really change, which is like a desk or a chair. So molecules make up each of these three states of matter. And for each example of the molecules, we're going to do a little hand activity. So for a solid, it's close together. Each of the fists are molecules, okay? So the molecules for a solid, they're close together, and they don't really move. So let's put our fists close together, which is each molecule. They don't really move, they just stay next to each other, which is how desks and other solid examples, they stay put. They don't really move around, they don't really take shape of something else, they just are there because they don't move. They're stuck together and they stay put. For liquids, they're more free and they move around. So we go like this, they're kind of moving but they don't go far. And that is whenever the liquids take shape of the containers that it's in. And for gas, they move completely free. They go all over the place, they're moving around fast. This can be an example of smoke coming up from a fire. This can be fumes coming up from a volcano. It's just moving around all free. So we're gonna go ahead and state the matter of each cup. So this cup, what is the state that it's in?
Liquid.
Good, and for this cup, what state is that in?
Solid.
Solid, very good. And what's the third one that we're missing?
Gas.
Gas, correct. So now we're gonna go through this PowerPoint, learn a little bit more, and we're gonna get started with that. So the forms of water. Water has many forms. It can be in solid, liquid, and gas. Water is a liquid. We drink liquid water. And so when water gets very cold, it freezes, and it is a solid. That is one way that the states change between a liquid and a solid. The liquid freezes, and it turns into a solid. This can be ice, this can be snow. It's changing from one form to the other. And frozen water is called ice. And another way that the states can change is whenever the water gets very hot, it turns to steam. It is a gas. The ocean is liquid water. The North Pole is solid water. And hot springs turn liquid water to gas. So water has many forms. So after we watch this quick video, we're going to go through a review and then do an activity. So let's go ahead and watch this video. All right, so we're going to do a quick little review now. What are the three states of matter?
Solid, liquid, and gas.
Very good. Now you will do an independent activity, and you will draw two examples of each state. So in each column, for the solid, the liquid, and the gas, I want you to draw two examples of solid, two examples of liquid, and two examples of gas. They do not have to be just in the forms of water. They can be in any kind that you can think of, as long as it's a solid, a liquid, and gas. So here you go. Very welcome. There you go. The students now will take 12 minutes to complete this activity. Once they are finished, then we will go ahead and discuss the activity. 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me. Very good. So now that we have completed the activity, let's share one example of each. Can someone give me an example of a solid?
Chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets, very good. And can someone give me an example of a liquid?
Chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk, very good and delicious. And can we get an example of gas?
Gasoline.
Very good. The exhaust that comes from the car. So we're going to go ahead and review all of the information from today's lesson. And once we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and do our exit slip. So the three states of matter are solid, liquid, and gas. Solid has a shape and it takes up space. Liquid has no shape, but it still takes up space. Whereas gas has no shape and it does not take up space. solid molecules are close together. So let's go ahead and review that all together. Solid molecules are close together and they do not move. Liquid molecules are somewhat together. They move around, but they don't go very far. And then gas molecules are all over the place, moving very fast, and they're just far apart from each other. So, a solid can turn into a liquid. For an example, the ice, as it melts, it turns into water. And another way that the states change is that water can turn into gas. So when you have water boiling on the stove, it turns into gas and the steam rises. So for your exit ticket, I want each of you to write one thing about each state of matter. For the solid, the liquid, and gas, give one example. And then you want to give an example of that solid, liquid, and gas in the form of water. So we're going to write down one thing that you learn about each state, and then give an example of that in the form of water. And then I want you to give a short example of one state changing into a new state of matter. At the bottom, write a question about this lesson or something that you may not have understood about this lesson. And then once you're done with that, you can bring it up to me, and then you can pack up and get ready to leave for the day. Any questions? No? All right, very good. Go ahead and get started on your exit ticket.